Hi guys, and welcome back. We are going to go through the second half of these Dr. Seuss books. And let me know, this might be a long video. Again, I think the other one was like 25 minutes or so. So the second half will probably be about the same. So again, let me know if you want to go through any of these individually, or we could have story time, or whatever. I could come up with more ideas, or if anybody else has any ideas, let me know. But I think these ones are, these were really good ones, but the second half is pretty good. But we'll get through them. Starting off with the Sneetches. I really love this story growing up, and for some reason it's still stuck with me. Probably because it teaches you such a good lesson. Like, don't be freaking whatever. Don't be freaking rude if you don't have to be. Treat others the way you want to be treated. And this also has the Zacks in it, I believe they're called. But we'll get there. But this is the Sneetches. I love the Sneetches. They look really depressed right here, but that's pretty understandable. And these are the depressed ones, and then these are the ones that have the star bellies, and they think that they're better than everyone. So here's their little weenie roast. And yeah, he still uses that. Well, obviously he still does, but he continues to use the yellow. And the blue, you can, it sets a mood, basically. Even their bright colors when they're sad. And this guy, he comes in and he's got the machine to fix it all. But these, yeah, I love all the yellow. I don't necessarily love yellow. I always wear black pretty much. But I like yellow, and it stands out and it pops, and there's just a obvious color scheme for each of these stories. And there's yellow on every page. And then even the Zacks, he's still got the yellows and blues. And then the black and white characters, if you can kind of see them. There's a South Zacks and a North Zacks that just walk one way, and eventually they bump into each other. He has a very big butt. He didn't have to draw him like that, but he's packing a little bit. And there again. All that walking, you gotta have some pretty good glutes, I would imagine. So they didn't want to move, and they're really stubborn, and then they just build cars and the town in the background around them, basically. And then this one is Too Many Daves. We don't want to have too many Daves, honestly. See, all the yellows and the blues just all works. I like it. Well, there's that. There's just way too many Daves. What was I scared of? No reason to be scared of anything at all. Even though it's really easy to be scared. I like being scared, but not everybody does. And, being scared is still obviously really scary, depending on the situation. There's some scaredy pants, honestly. And just, the blue, it's nighttime, it just sets a mood. It's just going through and reading these stories and looking at the colors. They're just awesome. And see, I like how like the different stories have their own different color schemes, and they're pretty consistent all the way through. You know, it's just, that's the whole story, and then you get the end of the book and it's the Sneetches again. But I mean, you can learn a lot from Dr. Seuss, obviously. And another good one, I mean, there's going to be a lot of good ones in here, but I really like this one. I just really liked, well, in school, I don't know if you ever made this, but the oobleck. I think it's like cornstarch, water, and I think that's it. Just cornstarch and water. But yeah, it's like solid and liquid at the same time, basically. So I just thought it was funny about oobleck, but mine oobleck never looked this green. This would have been sick. I would have loved to have that green of oobleck, but this, I love the slimy green. It's perfect. And the black and white, and then just the little color on the T there. If it'll focus. Okay, well, I guess it doesn't want to focus, but this is just another one of those black and white stories. And I really liked this one because, I mean, it's not like a Disney princess and king royalty type book, you know? Okay, there it kind of focuses a little bit more, but I just love, even hair in my face, like the different kind of style of the text. I want to focus there, kind of. But yeah, like, you don't see that in the pictures. Like these just old men around this cauldron. And even like the small details, like the little hook, they didn't have to put a little face on that, but he did. And just like, I don't know if you can see these like tiny little specks of green, and this tiny little green fog, basically. It's just the little tiny subtle details are just exactly perfect for these stories. I mean, perfect for any story, but I mean, not really any, because some stories work better with other things. But just this, yeah, slimy green. It's just like dark, but kind of neonish. It's like, you can imagine what it would be like to be near it, you know, or it's just, you see it flying through the sky, or if it lands on you, you probably could get a pretty good idea of exactly what it's gonna feel like. It's just, it's everywhere. It's raining down. It's everywhere, but it doesn't need a whole lot for you to know that it is everywhere. Just those tiny little accents of green. Like there hasn't been a completely green page. It's still mostly just black and white. It's just all scribblings or like drawings, and then that little hint of green. And everybody is just tangled up in this mess. It reminds me of the Lorax. It reminds me of like the Thneed, even though it's a hard word to say. The Thneed. So everybody needs a Thneed, but if they had like a green one, like I feel like, you know, because you can stretch them and make them into any shape, but like I think it said you can make them into soup, but that's just kind of what this reminds me of. Even like it's just so consistent in like the textures and the shapes. And here's the king getting super sticky and messy with this oobleck. Very frustrating. It's everywhere. I mean, I would be very frustrated too if it was all over me and all over my stuff, but that's it. No more oobleck. But yeah, this is a good one. And just even the cover. Bartholomew and the oobleck. That's all you really need to know. You're going to find out what the oobleck is, and you're going to find out what it does. Horton hears a who. Everybody knows this one. I'm trying not to give away too many spoilers in these just in case. But you never know if you haven't read them or if there are kids watching and they haven't read them and they want to read them. I mean, you can still buy these books anywhere or, well, anywhere online or Barnes & Noble. But they're so expensive now. I mean, they were probably still expensive back in the day when they first came out. Maybe not when they first came out because nobody knew who Dr. Seuss was. But when I was a child, they were probably still almost $20 each, I would imagine. I suppose I thought some of them had like price tags on them, but apparently not. They don't even have I don't know why I'm just realizing this, but I think one of them had the one that was different, like the flat book maybe had like a price tag on it, but this was even before they had any sort of like just like scanning like barcode or anything. They must have had to just type it in, but it doesn't even say a price anywhere too. So I don't know how I'm just realizing that, but yeah, I must have looked at one that had a barcode on it. That must be a different one because there's a couple that are like a different size, but either way, I think that just makes it even more cool. Because, you know, not everybody knows that they didn't always have barcodes, you know, and it's just a different time, and probably in the future we might not have barcodes either, and they'll just scan this whole book and just be like, oh yeah, that's this much, it's in our system. So you never know what the future is gonna hold. It'll be crazier and crazier. But yeah, like I said, I mean, everybody should know this story. But the blues and the little, that's like, I don't know, orangish reddish. It's kind of reddish. But they just, see, and you get the whole mood of the blue. This is perfect. And then, you know, a little subtle different color, and you're in a completely different place. Because see, obviously, Horton is still over here in the blue. And there's all these flowers. And obviously that jerk bird is making Horton look through all these flowers just to find the who's. So sad. But obviously, spoiler alert, he finds them. But see, like, even the main characters, the fact that they don't have any color and just the background does, like, even just the sky, like, I'm into that. You don't need to have them be in color for them to be like eye-catching or interesting, you know? And like this subtle little detail of color, you know, that's gonna catch your focus. Because if all this was colored, then you would just kind of lose that focus. And that's what you want to see. It's just the tiny world that these little like who's live on. And obviously you want that tiny little thing there to be the centerpiece, you know? Because I feel like everybody just has all these colors and they make this whole page, you know, like they have to do every little thing in detail and color and do all these things to it. But it's, yeah, you don't need that to be interesting. Just do your own thing and, you know, focus on the main things that kids are going to look at. And this, if this is the eye-catching thing, they're going to, you know, they're going to try and fry up this little world that, or flower world that they live on. But, yeah, it's just, you really pay attention to what's actually going on, and it kind of gives you a little bit more focus, and instead of just being overwhelmed by all these different pages and everything. And you don't have anything like in the words and in the background to make it harder to read, because sometimes the words can just get lost if there's too much happening on the page. It just, especially in kids' books, it's like you want them to clearly be able to read if they're able to read. Yep. And here they finally hear the who's. Spoiler alert. But classic. And the movie was really good. I enjoyed that movie, actually. The newer one, or well, it's not very new now. It probably came out a few years ago. But that one was, yeah, pretty good. I can't remember all the characters or all the actors that are in it, but Horton Hears Who. I mean, yeah, it's pretty good. And then, I don't know if many people know that there was another Horton book, Horton Hatches the Egg. I mean, Horton's back at it. See, and the bright, eye-catching orange and the blue. There's always a sky, so you always gotta have blue. But this is a different blue, too, than even in that story. You know, it's lighter, it's happier, it's a different mood. It's a different time. And, well, I mean, it could be a different setting, too, but in this, it's not. It's just wherever he lives. He lives in, like, a jungle or a forest or somewhere where wild animals live. Even though they can all speak to each other in English for some reason. Yeah, see? These little, like reddish, like, bolts of lightning. You know? And then, like, there's only, like, a little bit of red as the bird nest. And the bird's on vacation. But, yeah, just those subtle little things. You see, it just makes you focus on certain things. Over here, or his eyes. Even though his outside you can clearly see, he's just shattered to pieces, but that little touch of red on his eyes just really helps. And here's that. And now he's not looking quite as bad. But he's still missing out on all the fun because he has to hatch this egg, or these eggs. And then, of course, there's like these poachers. They got these red accents on them. Red right there, too. It kind of like leaves a little trail over there. a little trail for the eye. Horton's just trying to take care of some eggs, you know? He does not care. He could easily trample those guys. Easily trample them. He could just sit on all of them. They would not be after his eggs. But somehow, he's just so concerned about the eggs that they just start wheeling them away. I don't know if they know Horton. Maybe they know he's kind of a pushover, but they probably figured that out when he said he didn't want to move because of the eggs and the fact that he's still on them and still has not tried to trample them. Easily could, though. Easily could trample many people, probably hundreds of people. Now, the mom's coming back, trying to figure out where her freaking eggs are. The egg, and then out pops a little Horton bird. And Horton's very happy. And now everyone's happy. But Horton just has a little tiny Horton bird. So, not quite sure how that works, but his butt DNA just must have rubbed up against the egg so much that it just worked. Thidwick the big-hearted moose. I don't know anybody whose name is Thidwick. Never heard of anybody whose name is Thidwick. But this is, the moose. He's big-hearted, though. He's a cute little moose. I just love his own art style. Like, you can still tell what it is. Like, obviously, these are all moose. You can tell what it is, but it's still, like, its own animal in a way. Just because it's Dr. Seuss. It's a Dr. Seuss animal. Dr. Seuss creature. I don't know. I'd probably call them all creatures, but some of them are not ever going to exist or couldn't possibly exist. But a moose, it's still like, it doesn't look like a moose, but it does, if that makes any sense at all. But you can just tell it's a moose. Well, and it says it's a moose, obviously, but just its own design. Like the antlers. And all these, like, little animals crawling all over him. And he can't get out of his antlers. He's still got him in there. While all these other moose can keep calm and carry on, you know. They don't have anything to worry about, but he just doesn't want to take them off because it feels bad. Which, of course, is going to have its own repercussions. There's bigger animals going on there, and he's just getting all worn down. But all these hunters, and the little, like, red smoke action, it's just like, it's so much pencil, and like, it just looks so great. Like, it really tells the story well. Because, I mean, it's its own world. It's just great. And you can still see all the animals on his head, but they just want to hunt the animals. He's like, no, they're chilling on my antlers. But then he breaks them off. Can you see them popping off? And now he's happy. Because he doesn't have to lug them all around. They still killed the other animals, but Thidwick is gonna be okay, though. He doesn't have his antlers anymore, but he's still okay. He just, he didn't have to worry about his antlers anymore or any animals crawling in them, so better than being dead. But did I ever tell you how lucky you are? And this book is just really, like, heartwarming, you know? It's like, it really humbles you, you know? If you need that kind of moment, it's just kind of, this little boy goes to this old man, and the old man's trying to tell him how lucky he is. He's just like, oh, well, luckily you're not these people or these people or these things, you know? He's just basically saying, like, oh, you could have it a whole lot worse. And so it obviously tells the story of, like, all these different things that are going on, all these different people or animals or whatever bad thing is going on. Whatever an unfortunate thing that these animals or people have to endure. But this little boy doesn't have to, you know, because he's just a little boy. So, he is very lucky that he doesn't have to be these people or these things. And all these people are just, you know, they're doing their own thing, but we're glad that we don't have to be them. We do not want that. He doesn't have his own shadow. He's trying to look. But I love how Dr. Seuss draws old men. And I mean, these ones are all connected, but I love that. That would totally be a meme and, you know, still be relevant today. It's like the Human Centipede, but not that bad. I've never actually seen that movie, but I know what it's about, and I know enough. I don't want to know anymore. Anyway. It's just trying to humble you and tell you, like, hey, you know, some people or things have it a lot worse than you do. And that's very true in today's world. I mean, you know, take a little old man's advice. Sitting on a cactus. And the little boy is too, even though it doesn't really seem like good advice. But at least the little boy or you or me, whoever is not these animals or creatures in this book, they don't have to go through the horrible things that they do. Or the old men with their beards and hair all grown together. That doesn't seem like it'd be very fun. But they're living their lives, you know. I had trouble in getting to Sala Salu. I don't know if I've ever pronounced that right, but I think I'm saying that right. Sala